That's okay.
I
Okay.
try and moderate myself, but I'm not always successful.
It's the effort that counts,
Yeah,
Steve. It's the effort that
God,
counts.
well, one would hope.
Okay, cool. So for everyone tuning in to this, whether you're tuning in live or in the replay, hello and welcome. My name is A. Today I am joined with Steve Aldrich, and yeah, we're going to be basically talking. We're going to be having an informal conversation about the Catalyst community and sort of moderation around it, but specifically to do with Discord. So I think at this point it makes sense for me to just kind of quickly give a quick contextual understanding for, for those kind of for those who might be watching this who have no idea what the hell Cardano is or what Catalyst, what the hell these two guys are going on about. So Cardano is a cryptocurrency, and part of the currency, the currency is called ADA, and part of the currency, whenever any transaction happens, there's a fee that's paid to the network to actually process those transactions. That fee goes to a pot, which is the treasury, and the community actually gets to basically, use part of that money in the treasury to fund ideas, right? And that's what the project Catalyst is about. And yeah, so you can go over to cardano.ideascale.com to find out more. And yeah, and basically, yeah, the idea there is you have community members, create an account, you then become a community member. And contextually, you'll be able to explain everything that is required at the moment. There are 2/3 ish challenges going on, and challenges are basically sort of like a context that you can actually put forward a proposal, and yeah, and over the course of 6 weeks you get to evolve that proposal, and you get to engage with the community regarding what it can be. You can get to actually add folks onto the team, sort of regarding the different skill sets that are within the community, kind of thing. And it's a really interesting environment because as opposed to traditional environments where people are quite guarded with the intellectual property or the ideas, here it's actually the idea is to openly share the idea, and it's the best person to to arrive at sort of executing it, because once the idea is actually executed, a rising tide raises all boats, and that's kind of the spirit of open source kind of thing. Right. So, Steve, how's my sort of description of what Cardano and Catalyst is?
Hey,
Or
I think you did a great job.
is it?
That's-
Okay. Cool. Okay. Cool. 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 Cool.
and I would say that I think we're still discovering.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's a whole.
So
Yeah. It's an experiment. Yeah.
yeah.
It's a whole experiment. As Door, the project lead on Catalyst keeps saying, like, yeah, it's an experiment, and yeah, come in and try and figure out it, help us figure out what the future of funding projects as well as governance is, right? Because that's part of the whole kind of big picture that we're kind of going for here. Okay, let's okay, so actually it makes sense. Steve, if you could just kind of give people in however in I don't know, the whole paragraph, or in a sentence or two, just give people some sort of context as to who you are in the context of the community.
Um, so I lurked in the background, Telegram, watching all the YouTube, all of that since I don't know, 2017 ish. It was early 2019 when I finally bought some ADA, but I was quite involved in some of the Telegram uh, chat groups prior to that. I actually was involved in the ITN. I wanted to be a stake pool operator. I fired up, I can't tell you how many nodes. I can't tell you how many computers I put together so that I could do that. I mean, I run a little computer repair business, so hardware is not an issue for me.
Yeah.
So in any case, I quickly determined that there was just more technical coding and security requirements than I personally have in my toolkit to run a stake pool. So I stepped back away from that, saying, well, I guess, maybe I think I see stuff coming down the road that I could get involved in. And then, Project Catalyst was announced. And when I saw Door's smiling face talking about this cool thing that he got chosen to kind of shepherd along on that was at the summit, right? In August, whenever this July, was it?
Yeah, May, July, 2020.
So anyway, that lit a fire for me. I said, man, this I could really get my head around, because it's about governance. It's about discovering how we as a community are going to move forward. How are we going to deal with the challenges that arise, and how are we going to mobilize the funds and the people that are part of this community, because the treasury just keeps growing. So we got to do something. So anyway, I want to be involved. It was where I was. And so I just jumped in with both feet, stayed really active. And ever since Fund One was initiated, I sent in I think I don't have a proposal. I got nothing to bring to the table but me. And I got chosen to be part of Fund One, one out of, what was it, 50 people. And I was like, wow. So I've been really involved since Fund One. And I think that most of the people who've been around since then would say that I've put in my hours.
Yeah.
I continually, I still to this day put in greater than 40 hours a week within the community.
Yeah.
And I run a business, and I play tennis. And my wife wonders where I went.
Yeah.
Can we have dinner, please?
Yeah.
So in any case, so that's I've just been really, really, really involved and invested in this community. So that's, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Enough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be quiet now.
No, that was actually really quite good and helpful, and sort of gave a good sort of context. Wait, so quick question. So did the Discord get started in Fund One then?
No.
Okay, Fund Two.
Fund Two.
Okay, cool. Okay, but what was interesting, obviously, you came with a knowledge of Fund One into Fund Two, and sort of all that kind of.
Well, there were quite a few discussions that went on during Fund One that we needed some way to carry on more structured conversations about specific topics. Because our only way of having community discussion during Fund One was within Telegram. And then some of us, said, okay, well, I'm going to start another Telegram channel, but that was even kind of, that wasn't good enough, because it didn't allow us to have structured discussion about very structured things. So, somebody said, hey, why don't we start a Discord channel? And I'm like, what's Discord? I mean, seriously, what is Discord? And why would it work for us?
Yeah.
So anyway, Fund Two got kicked off, and I went and I looked at Discord, and I read as much, I watched as many YouTube videos as I could stomach. And I finally said, well, I'm just, and I was working with TiVo. I said, TiVo, can you kick one of these off for us? He said, yeah, but and he was working on some projects, and he was getting ready to propose to the UN challenge,
Mm.
and he was extremely busy.
Yeah, I remember that time. Yeah.
And so I would catch him on Telegram, right? And I would say, "Hey Tivo, how we doing? What are you thinking about this?" And he would say, "Well, I've got this and this and this, and oh, I just added this." So I finally just said, "Hey, buddy, I'm just gonna I'm gonna kick the server off."
Yeah, it made sense, and yeah, but you make a really good point there, which is Telegram, as good as it is, it's basically, a messaging app. It's not really well suited. It's not fit for purpose for, as you said, structured conversations about structured things, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, and that's well, unfortunately, at the moment, from at least from the announcement standpoint, IOG or IOHK, the company who are sort of doing, sort of facilitating the project, tend to sort of push sort of information there.
In Telegram,
Into
yeah,
the
definitely,
announcement channel,
yeah.
um,
And then
which I
I
feel
take
is
that and I
somewhat.
drop it into Discord.
Okay, okay, there
So,
we go. Brilliant. Okay,
well,
awesome.
yeah, and I'm not saying that they should. I'm just saying, hey, we want to disseminate the information as broadly as we can. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Uh, okay, I feel like it makes sense at this point for me to just to make a distinction here between again the company and the community, right? So I feel like yeah, the Telegram sort of environment, from what I understand at least, it's primarily kind of ran by IOHK slash IOG. Don't really know what the hell to call them. Sort of in
I
between
think pick
names.
one.
Oh, okay.
Pick one.
I'll just go with
Yeah.
IO.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
One day.
um, exactly. That will be able to actually last through the transition. Yeah. The difference between the Discord is that it's quite community focused and community led. Yeah, I would say led more than focused, because I think both of them are community focused. But the Discord is more community led, and personally, I think I much prefer. My experience has been that, whether it's Reddit or the Cardano forum, much like Mark, the fellow community member, has been pointing out, I find that the environments which are policed by or moderated, I think maybe police is actually probably a better word, by the companies or company, um, tend to be quite sensorial and less accountable, in my experience.
Say
Experiences
that
might
word
change.
again. What is the
Sensorial.
quite?
Which one?
No, that word.
Yeah,
What?
or it's basically they censor, I suppose, or sort of
Oh, all right. Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
or basically there isn't a clarity in sort of accountability of how decisions are made or sort of arrived at, and so on, and that's part of why I want to engage with these conversations. I feel like there's so much about governance, about the community as a whole, that needs to take place. And one of the reasons why I'm actually having this conversation with you is because personally, I experienced sort of like, kind of firsthand this difference between, sort of a community led, company led and community led, when there was an event that happened with a community member, and I just sort of like inquired as to what was going on. Has this person been banned? Like what was happened? And you and I think other moderators within the Discord were really like prompt and transparent in all that, in the way that you communicated, and I really loved that. And that instilled a sense of trust, in me and in this community, in this environment, to actually want to be a part of it, and to want to improve it, because trust erodes in an environment where there's no accountability. And what we're dealing with here, before we get entirely sort of decentralized, even once we get to that point, trust is going to continue to be, at the core of what we do, right? Within cryptocurrency and as a whole, we can't just kind of push uh, the responsibility to the trustless technology, right? There's still that kind of human to human, proof of
Sure.
merit kind of aspect that will exist. Right. So the idea here is that we're going to basically talk about Fund 2 as a sort of conversation overview. Talk about Fund 2, what worked, what didn't, and then move on to sort of pain points, specifically talking about optimizing moderation and engagement, again within the context of the Catalyst community on Discord. And then we'll move on to sort of the different bits and bobs within Discord, the sort of the atomic elements, so to speak.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, sort of conclude with, the difference, well, not really conclude actually, then move on to talking about the general Catalyst Discord and how the person can sort of in a way evolve from that to creating their own server on Discord, uh, and then ending with yeah, discussing the Santa Clara principles, which are basically about principles suggested to hold big tech companies accountable from a content moderation standpoint. So that's what we're going to sort of get into at this point. Yeah, and then sort of point people to the Discord and have a conversation as to whether or if it is possible to actually get a human readable domain name as opposed to the weird characters that Discord tends to have at the moment. Okay, so let's just jump into it. So, Font 2, could you share with us what you think worked? Yeah, again, in the context of what we're aspiring to do, which, within Catalyst, which is, have proposers engage with the broader community and improve the ideas and so on and so forth.
I think that, for a first foray into something like this, um, it was amazing to me the amount of collaboration that occurred.
Mm-hmm.
The number of people who genuinely worked to improve and to assist and bring their own talent to the table and say, hey, I'm a marketing person, or hey, I'm a numbers person, or whatever their particular expertise was, come in and comment on the ways to make a proposal better and more likely to be voted on and funded. So I think that for the first time, it was gloriously well done. I mean, yeah, we had our things that you could say, hey, we could do this better.
Yeah, which we'll get into. Yeah,
sure. We had things that delays. And that's, another thing that we will get into. I am now seeing that you're saying, hey, we're talking about the what did work. What did work is we attracted community. People out in the community came in, proposed ideas that they had for projects that they wanted to do, and more community came in to help them shape those ideas into something that could be funded. And we had 11, now 12 actually funded. And that story, that it went from 11 to 12, is the perfect example of what I'm talking about, what went well here.
Yeah.
There was a 2 or 3 of the proposals that were funded said, take some of mine and put it over here so that that one can be funded.
Yeah.
Win. That's a win.
Definitely.
You just cannot, you can't buy that kind of community engagement.
Hmm.
You walk around the street with $100 bills. You're not going to buy that kind of community engagement.
Engagement. Yeah.
That takes people who are committed to the community, to moving the protocol forward. Protocol's a bad word for it, but moving this community and this idea forward.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's
Okay.
tremendous. That's books will be written.
About the yeah, yeah, and
This
we're
is
just
the
at the beginning.
beginning, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is where we get the opportunity to have our voices heard about what we think governance is as a species.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
we get the opportunity to actually be recorded. Unlike, I mean, if you go back to the Declaration of Independence, those guys, they argued,
Yeah.
they fought, but they finally came together and there were signatures made. But we have absolutely nothing but that one
Document.
document, or maybe some side documents.
Mm.
But we don't have this
Mm.
eyeball to eyeball. What did somebody say? What were their thoughts? Dude, 100 years from now, I won't be around, but I'm hoping that somebody's coming back and saying, hey, that Steve guy, he, he wasn't a total jerk.
He had some good points. He made some good points.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what worked? That worked.
that worked. Okay, so yeah, so let's look at the inverse, I suppose. Like what didn't work, or what, put another way, what could we do? Wait, well, actually, before we move on to this, let's just quickly look at the numbers, right? You mentioned that just within the last town hall, with town halls which happen every single Wednesday, um, the numbers went up by like a ridiculous amount. Like, could you just sort of like give us a sense of like just the
Oh,
amount of
Discord.
people? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, membership in Discord. Yeah. So um, when the town hall kicked off, we had 353 members.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now that number's, I don't know how real that number is, because after we got up to like 200 or so, we made a change where we wanted proof of life, or proof that you're a human, not a bot.
Yeah.
And so not all of that 353 have gone through that process. All
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So in any case, it was 353. Today it's I think 463, 4, something like that. But it went up before the end of the day last Wednesday after that town hall. It went from there to about 440 something. It was a crazy spike in membership.
Mm.
As well as not just members, but discourse. Who
Ah.
who how much was being said, how many conversations, how many messages were typed in there.
Mm.
And this is something, there's a labor of love for me. I love the community. I love the project. I'm all in on Cardano. So this, it doesn't cost anything to start a server other than time,
Yeah.
desire, effort. But then I wasn't satisfied with the stats that were available to me. So, I paid for an upgrade in the stats capabilities, and I get a kick out of going in and looking around at, okay, so who's really hammering the keyboard in here, and, what channels are they in, and how are they engaging? So,
Okay, yeah, that's really so. I suppose for context, the last kind of reported numbers, or at least what I heard, the Catalyst community was around, is it 5,000 people who are signed up
on
to
idea
Discord?
scale, yeah, I
Yeah.
believe that's correct. A little over 5, yeah.
Okay, wow, that's crazy. And yeah, so as we scale up, like we need better tools. Like, that's part of why we're having this conversation. We need better tools, to actually have richer conversations. Yeah. So, yeah, what would you say didn't work so well? What can we improve?
Comms.
Okay.
I would have to say that communications um, were lacking, and it was very very difficult uh, um, to know for certain what was going on at all times, and especially as we got into where we had delays that were occurring.
Mm,
And I get it. I mean, delays. I mean, hey, if you've been around Cardano long enough, you know,
mm.
it's there's a contingent of folks out there that say that's all Cardano does is delay.
What
Um,
kind of, Yeah.
but in any case, I'm all about let's get it right. I don't care how long it takes. I mean,
Oh,
that's
okay. So,
that's kind of where I sit.
yeah,
But the fact of the matter is, one of the things that we didn't see occur very well was um, was the communications around those delays, and how we were moving forward toward resolving those delay causing issues.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was and that will get better.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like, yeah, part of that is sort of, I suppose, yeah, just the sense of uncertainty and context where people have, probably made commitments to, to other people, around these things. So yeah, I agree, and so I'm assuming that sentiment of, whether it's, erosion of trust, within, that sort of seeped in, around, coming from this sort of sense of uncertainty, that probably affected sort of the sentiment of folks, um, within the Discord, community kind of thing. Um, yeah. So, um, yeah, whilst the delays thing wasn't specific to, to Discord, I feel like, yeah, that is definitely a point which I would say is one worth highlighting and understanding how to then, in a way, in the future, be able to be aware of these external factors which, affect, people's, the way people sort of interact with each other. If people are, I suppose, mean to each other, there's a high probability of being mean to each other, being rude to someone, if you feel like someone is coming and judging your project, in a way that's not, respectful, in a sort of, productive feedback. And, on the other hand, you've got stresses of, like, okay, I made a commitment to this company, and, I don't have sort of, a sense of when I'm going to be able to actually sort of engage, with them, and, retain good relationships with people who are, sort of, are made commitments to, in connection to this kind of thing. So anyway, moving on. So pain points. How do you think we can, optimize for better moderation and then, engagement, basically?
Okay, so forgive me. In my head, as we were talking about this, and you were asking me within Fund Two what worked, what didn't work. I'm thinking of
The
of
bigger
the
picture.
Project Catalyst, not focused specifically on Discord.
Yeah.
Um, and if that's where we want it to be, then I'm sorry. With
It's fine. Don't
respect to
apologize.
with respect to pain points within Fund Two,
Yeah.
constrained to
Yeah.
within Discord.
Yes, please. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that some of the pain points are that text is really, really, really flat. Okay. It has no nuance. You can't see whether the eyebrows are raised or lowered. Text is so flat that you can't really always know what someone is saying
Yeah.
unless they build nuance around what words they use. So that's a difficulty, and it makes, as a person who's trying to keep a friendly and inviting environment, it makes the job difficult because you want to sometimes take someone over here in another room and let them explain to you, how you should understand what they're saying, so that you have context, right?
Hmm.
But you can't always do that. And quite often when I have suggested, hey, could we have a little private side conversation here, I've been, as a person who cares, I've been offended by the concept that, well, hey, you're trying to keep everybody from seeing what you're saying. Anybody who's been in any of these chat tools
Mm.
and seen how I present has got to know that if I'm asking for a private conversation, it's not to keep everyone from knowing, because we'll come back and tell you what happened.
Mm. Mm.
But I want to be able to speak and let that person speak without inflaming or jeopardizing relationships with the others in the group.
Mm.
So that's my methodology, if you will, of trying to relieve some of the pain. Hey, can we have a little private conversation here? Just help me understand, what's going wrong, or what, or how am I misinterpreting what you're saying? Because I will tell you, I try, I try, and I think that I do a pretty good job of staying even, of being agreeable, even if I disagree,
Mm.
and of benefit of the doubt, assuming
Best
the
intent.
best intent.
Yeah.
I, but do I know my own heart?
Yeah, it comes back to that. Yeah.
Do I? And that's where I, quite often will step off into the admin channel and say, hey guys, check me here. You come take a look at this, and if and take over. I if I'm out of line here, then you know I've got, it's a learning for me.
Mm.
you know and I'm okay with that. I don't have to be right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that you should say this, because I feel like actually my learnings in regards to this, because I've, for context, I put forward a proposal in Fund 2, and I've sort of been through the whole process. So I was obviously a part of the Discord channel, and within the channel, Discord server. Within the server, I requested to get a channel, which is what happens. Proposal comes along and requests the admin to create a channel for them. So you can think of channels as being these sort of like discrete kind of little rooms where conversations around a particular context can occur. And so I had that, and then gradually I basically, at some point I was like, you know what, actually I'm going to create my own server. And that was an interesting transition. I mentioned this just give specific context to what you just said there, which is the nature of communication. Text is absolutely flat, and a lot of miscommunication happens. A lot of relationships, like relationships I've had, like romantic relationships I've had in the past, have
don't send her a text if it's
exactly.
if it's in question, man.
Exactly. Yeah, because you
Don't
can't
do
read
it.
tone, right?
Yeah.
And exactly. So this is quite important. So I feel like what I realized realized in setting up a server for my my cast .live community is that I realized actually what I want to encourage is have people go into voice channels, right?
Mm.
If you're having a conversation, so I shifted the voice channel all the way to the top, right? So and this kind of connects to conversations which I've had about voice channel within the Catalyst Discord, where sort of like I was asking like how why why wasn't there a VC a voice channel, and then that kind of happened. But even with that, then there were quite there were a bunch of limitations. I understand, there's a sort of give and take there, because you don't want people just kind of going in there and, I don't know, inflaming a situation, but at the same time, like, having such an environment where people can, again, as you said, eye to eye, and you can be able to read voice, intonation, etc. A much richer experience provides for sort of the um sort of calming the situation down in certain instances. So that's one learning, I suppose, and perhaps maybe at some point it might make sense to kind of explore something like that, where if there's any sort of misunderstandings, someone can go into the VC and have sort of like a the voice channel, and have perhaps a conversation that can be expanded on there. Okay, so yeah, so I feel like okay, so let's have a look. So okay, let's move on to roles and permissions. Let's just yeah, have a conversation about at the moment what are the different roles and sort of what permissions do those have?
So the roles, I mean, there's me because I started it,
Yeah.
and then there's admins,
Hmm.
and admins have the ability to drop the hammer of Thor. It's, you're toast.
Okay.
You're gone. You're banned. All right, and then assuming that that's needed. I'm just saying that as far as from a moderator standpoint, the the ultimate violence that can be enforced is a banning within the admin section. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
The only thing
Yeah.
they can't do is get rid of me.
Yeah. So
Okay.
only you can delete the actual entire server, right? So
Right.
that's like one of the key differences there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And if I make a decision about an admin, that then that decision's been made.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but in any case, it's I guess I'm trying to look at this from a if it's governance, then I need to know what preventative or active measures can be taken at the extremes.
Yeah.
Okay, so then below the admin who has the ability to ban is something that we named demigods, oddly enough.
Yeah.
Parenthetically, moderator. So they have the ability to put you on a timeout kind of a thing, as opposed to out and out ban you.
Okay.
All right.
Hmm.
And then we have other roles that are really more community functional roles, such as a developer for hire, those kinds of things. And those roles can be built out as requested. There are only a few people who've asked to be tagged as a developer for hire. But I can imagine that there would be lots of roles that could be created. Now, we also have a role that's called a channel founder.
Hmm.
So if you come in and you ask for a channel, the concept is to give you management rights within your channel to delete certain messages and manage that channel. The concept is hey, this is your little domain here, and it's your discussion, and if people are messing with your history,
Mm,
Because I mean, really, I mean, that's the whole intent behind this, is not just to have ongoing conversations, but be able to archive this discussion around your proposal.
mm,
So the idea is to provide some functionality, some moderator functionality to the channel founders. Um, I got to be honest with you, I'm not certain how all of that works. I've been working with TiVo to try and get a better understanding of that. Um, but he's wicked busy. And this may be one of those times where I just have to learn it myself,
mm, mm. Yeah.
so that I can do that. But in any case, that's kind of the roles
Okay.
bucket, if you will.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That made a whole bunch of sense. Yeah. So yeah. I feel like as a community member, that is actually not that evident to me. So I think there's an opportunity there to actually like surface these so that people actually understand like, oh, okay, so all these are all the different roles, etc. And what it takes, if you want to actually sort of to be either to suggest a role or to join an existing role. Now, at this point, I'll just quickly like to, because I want to be super respectful. I always intend to be super respectful of people's time. We did have a conversation, and I said that we'll sort of go,
We've blown
up
past
until,
it.
yeah. What you were talking at the time, I didn't want to like
Yeah, well,
interrupt you.
what are you going to do? I'm always
Are you
talking.
okay? Are you okay to kind of go on for about 15 more minutes?
Sure, sure, sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
let's crack
Yeah,
on, as they say.
you were gonna say something there. After what I just said.
Hmm?
Oh, okay, that's fine. Because I thought you were gonna say something. From what I'd previously said before I said the time thing.
Oh, about surfacing the roles.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's. I think what I wanted to say is, there is so much content in our lives,
Mm,
and our different communication channels and venues,
mm,
that sometimes you're best to have someone ask you for capabilities rather than say, hey, all these capabilities are here, and just further convolute someone's. Hey, look, before September, I had never typed one syllable into a Discord server. So I knew nothing about Discord.
mm.
So, and I'm a tech kind of guy. So I can imagine there are a lot of people that are hitting the Discord server that they look at that channel list that's there on the left and they go, oh, what do I do?
Exactly. So this is why I think actually understanding the atomic element. So it doesn't matter if they're a whole bunch of people. So long it's like if you have a look at the user interface of an airliner cockpit. There's a whole bunch of buttons, but if you actually understand, what the clusters actually represent, that actually reduces the anxiety. I feel so.
So can I
Yeah.
can I just make a point here?
Okay. Sure. Of course. Yeah.
The intention behind creating this Discord server
Yeah.
was to provide for the proposers a breakout room.
Yeah.
Okay, a way for them to have structured conversation about their proposal.
Yeah.
And I would suggest that Discord server and the attracting of eyeballs to it is not the Discord server's duty.
Yeah.
It is there for an intention to provide this functionality, this room.
Yeah.
And if you have a proposal and you have a desire to speak with your people in a structured way instead of in Telegram or some other tool,
Yeah.
and you choose that you want to use this Discord server for that, then invite people. Create an invite that when they click on it, they come directly into your channel because it is growing. I mean, when we get to 300 channels, we'll have to start pruning
Mm-hmm.
because that's the max.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, can you imagine what that thing is going to look like as we approach that 300? I mean, we're at 107, 110, something like that channels right now.
Mm.
And it just looks like there's so much there. Now, a lot of the channels don't have a whole lot of them in them. But anyway, my point was
Yeah.
our intention was to provide a place
Yeah.
for those who don't have a place where they can have structured discussions or discussions that are limited to their proposal. So, come use it, don't use it. I mean, it's a community service that myself and several other fellows, gals, said let's provide this because there seems like there's a need, and there's been a nice response to that.
Mm.
There's no, we don't have any monetization plans. We don't, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, hey, I'm pitching my Discord. No.
Yeah.
If it works for you and it's valuable, then use it.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to do the inviting of people by putting your link, on a web page, by putting your Discord invite, put that in your idea scale proposal, put it, send it out in whatever, in Telegram. Hey guys, I just put in a proposal, and if you want to talk about it with me, make comments on idea scale. Here's the link. Make comment. If you want to come in and talk in the Discord, here's Discord. And or I don't know, here's my Facebook page, come, whatever. I mean, it's just, all it is just a tool.
Yeah.
You're welcome to put it into your Batman belt of tools for your proposal. I mean, use it or not. I say get your proposal done so you can get funded, and I'm a happy camper.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, but I suppose a good thing to kind of close off this particular roles and permissions bit here is, as actually to add on to what you just said, there's a kind of public-private dynamic here where, in a way, you're trying to get people to come and engage on your specific private proposal, so to speak, but at the same time, there's the bigger picture of Catalyst and sort of everything that's going on there. So I feel like understanding all of this, part of it, we have to, in a way, improve the literacy of of just people, because part of the issue here I feel is the information overload of the interface, and it takes a lot to get people to use something new, right? And one of the reasons why people are quite hesitant to use Discord is because they don't understand it, right? So I feel like in communicating and making it really simple, like people who actually already use it will then use it even more and be more of an advocate, and it'll just create this awesome sort of virtuous cycle, right?
Forgive me. I have a problem with pitching Discord like it's a thing.
Okay, go ahead.
It's infrastructure.
Yeah.
The thing is the discussion.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
thing is the community engagement around your thoughts and your ideas.
Yeah.
Now, wherever you do that, please do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm happy to talk about Discord till the cows come home.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, you won't find me saying, "Hey, yay, Discord." What
Yeah.
I'm going to be saying is, "Yay, you started a conversation and you've engaged the community." And I frankly don't care what tool you use to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, perhaps maybe in what I just kind of said there, That wasn't clear. Yeah, this stream is not like a advertisement for Discord. I'm not hired. I don't get any sort of compensation. The idea here is
Forgive me. I didn't mean to step on you.
yeah, no.
I'm
I mean,
just.
yeah. If you understood that, obviously, the way I communicated it, might have sort of given that. The whole thing that I'm trying to communicate here is I'm completely in agreement with you. Where what's most important is the engagement around the idea. So far, I believe Discord is the best environment. Will it be the best environment forever? I don't think so. I think what is going to actually replace Idea Scale, because that's I believe is going to be replaced because it's not really fit for purpose. Whatever replaces that will be a much superior experience, and a lot of conversations have been taking place about a better environment of these conversations. So, but even then, like the dynamic will still exist where you have this private kind of environment for your proposal and conversations and community building, which is somewhat linked, which relates to the broader Catalyst ecosystem. And the idea is to to leverage that to create community for yourself. For yourself, well, for the idea, right? And where that lives, can change. So guidelines. Every Discord has guidelines, right? And one of the things that basically guidelines sort of provide is a way that people understand how to sort of carry themselves, but also how to best utilize whatever tool they're using. So yeah, at the moment, how is the Catalyst Discord approaching sort of guidelines and sort of onboarding folks in that respect?
There's there is a section called the town hall, I think is what it's called, and
Mm,
under there are quite a few channels that have different varied information about how to use it. How do I make a permanent invite link?
mm,
How do I do this? How do I do that? With every fund that comes out, we have in this case, Fund 3 general section. And within that, there are, here's how to ask for a channel for your proposal. Here's all that. Um, and then, we've got, well, what's our code of conduct, which basically we're following exactly what the code of conduct is for every um, Cardano comms channel,
mm,
whether it's Telegram or Reddit or, all of these different communications channels,
mm.
all utilize pretty much a standard boilerplate guidelines.
Yeah,
Um, you know, hey, if you disagree, just don't be disagreeable.
yeah.
Keep it sweet, Pete.
Yeah. So, in terms of engagement, right? Do you feel like because I feel like this will probably often be the case where you have some sort of conflict with a community member, and then it becomes very evident that they've not read the sort of the terms and conditions, so to speak, or the manual, right, which is the guidelines. So yeah, are you able to sort of tell, or do you think there's the possibility? Because before we started to actually before we went live on here, I was suggesting that one of the ways to possibly increase the engagement is to perhaps make a video, right? Because people, the effort required to watch a video is much less than so going through a whole bunch of text, which every single other Discord basically sort of has. Yeah, so what do you think are the opportunities, or what's the engagement around the guidelines kind of thing?
You mean what are the chances that a video, this is how you use this Discord, might be made? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, well, okay. So at the moment, it's in, as you said, there's a section, and within that section, there are different channels, right? So when
Mhm.
someone initially joins it, is
Then
there like a holding environment where you have to prove you're human, and then after that, like understanding the community, sort of guides, etc., understanding how to request, like all that stuff, right?
Yeah,
Like,
no. So once they've gone through the the challenge, the captcha bot,
mm-hmm,
that proves that they're theoretically proves that they're human.
mm-hmm,
So far, it seems to have been pretty good.
mm-hmm,
Um, then they're just put into the general channel.
mm-hmm.
All right, and the general channel's got several things pinned, helpful kind of things that are pinned. Although I don't know how useful that may be.
Yeah, because it's difficult to
Um,
find pins.
well, yeah, and
Yeah,
it's for a lot of people it's a new interface, and
exactly.
what's
Yeah,
a pin.
yeah, exactly.
Um, so then we have a kind of canned, hey, welcome to the group, welcome,
Mm-hmm,
and here's some things that from our best estimation, these are things that might have attracted you to this Discord server. And here's some actions you can here. Go take a look at this channel. Take a look at this channel. And if you want to have a proposal, go to this channel. And so there's a block of text that every now and then I'll drop it in, or Greg or one of the other admins will drop that in. Hey, we like. I think I dropped that block of text about 10 times Wednesday because we had so many people
new
coming
people.
in.
Yeah.
So about every 10 or so, folks, I'll drop that in.
Mm.
Should it be something that they see as a matter of course, every single person that comes in, like you notice on some of the Telegram channels, the bots, put in the, hey, welcome every time a new member joins.
Yeah, it can get a bit.
Yeah, I don't know if that's valuable.
Yeah.
Is there, well, obviously it has value, but I don't know if it's more distraction than value.
Mm.
Um, So could we onboard people in a more elegant fashion? Most likely.
Mm.
Do we have funds to pay somebody to develop that? No.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think though, in the short term, I think something like a video actually would do like
so where would the
tremendous.
video be though? That's the next question. Where is it?
What as in hosted? You mean? Like, I mean, it can be.
No. I mean, where would it live? How would people get to it? How
So
would they
like
be informed that they should go and watch it? How does that happen?
So on the onboarding process, right? So understanding in a way, the user journey. So as you said, someone arrives, they prove that they're human, and then they get whatever into the general channel. If they could be put into a channel where, hey, there's this video, oh, just watch it, and then boom, like here's where you can go, right? That'll communicate all the essential stuff. Like the community standards. They'll communicate, if you're a proposer, here's how you create a thing. Here's how you create or request
I like
to
I
get to
like the
channel,
idea.
the
I'm
roles.
digging it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something which I would be actually quite keen to sort of get involved in, and sort of realize, because I think the value of it will be quite high. Right, so we've got channels, proposals. I feel like we've already kind of touched on this. The idea here is basically channels. Okay, one thing that I think will be of value to actually talk about here is engagement, right? Actually, let's try and talk about both channels and the project, sort of separate project servers. So in terms of channels which are created, you and Greg, I think, not that long ago, well, actually late last year, were, as you said, you sort of purchased the StatBot, etc., which actually enabled you to get better insight about usage, right? And one of the things there was for the ability, it enabled the ability for sort of channel moderators, for lack of a better word, I forget exactly what the term used was, are able. Well, actually, no. Basically, there's a limited a bunch of folks who are able to actually query this bot for particular, say, stats of usage, whether it's within the channel or broadly within the Discord server. So, like, is there a way to shed some light on engagement in terms of like what you know from a sort of stat perspective, and what your thoughts on channels are? Because from my outsider perspective, from someone who's had a channel and who's kind of visited, a few channels, the engagement isn't really that high.
No, it
um
isn't.
okay, okay, so okay,
There
yeah,
there are some channels that really get a lot of attention and a lot of love.
yeah.
Um, but then it's kind of like driving down Main Street, right? And you've got shop owners,
Mm-hmm.
and you notice one, there's a line out the door,
Mm-hmm.
and the one next to it or across the street is being, they don't have any customers.
Yeah.
And you say, wow, what's going on here? Well, you might go talk to the one who's not getting any customers and say, why can't you do things like, the donut shop who seems to have all the customers?
Yeah.
I just don't know how you assist people in attracting engagement with them.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that, um, in a lot of cases, and this is just me, a lot of years of sales, a lot of years of, in my opinion, everything's sales. But uh, I think that a lot of people create proposals and don't recognize that idea scale, Telegram, Discord, all of these things are just marketing tools.
Mm,
That they're not recognizing that the words they use in those first three fields in idea scale
exactly.
are wicked important,
Yeah.
because those are the only things that are going to be seen in the voting app.
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
people aren't thinking in marketing terms. And that's understandable, because a lot of the folks who are in here making proposals aren't marketing people.
Mm-hmm.
They're developers, or they're just, Joe, just the common guy who has a good idea. He holds some ADA, he heard about this thing, he has a good idea, and he comes in and he puts it into idea scale. So now where do you go? Where do you go from here? How do you attract attention? How do you market your idea? So I think that that's kind of, when you look at the channels that don't get a lot of love, a lot of attention, a lot of activity, that's because there's a lack of marketing. There's a lack of engagement on the proposer's part in attracting that activity.
Cool. Yeah, that's a really interesting point, and I feel like I've got actually some ideas which could perhaps help with that. I mean, one of them is, the separate program on Cast.live, which is Catalysis, right? Where the idea there is to actually look at, different projects as they evolve over time. And so, I would be more, I suppose controversially, I would be more inclined to point people to the specific server, a Discord channel, as opposed to idea skill. Because I think things, I've got opinions on kudos and just the interaction on idea skill. I don't think it's rich. I think what I want to optimize is conversations around the actual quality of the project, and to enhance the people behind it in how they think, compared to some sort of other vanity metrics. So I think that's possibly a way to actually sort of increase that thing. Additionally, I think, to get to a point where, a project kind of graduates, I think what we could achieve in having, communicating, through this potential video, communicates the guidelines, part of it would be, how to, the different roles within Discord, and how to, and how those sort of work. This would actually, educate the proposers in how they can actually go away and actually, create their own Discord server, and then gradually, as I did, and as Gimbal James and company, Roberto and Julie, for Gimbal Lab, they did. And this has been a really rich sort of like transition, which I think is quite valuable. What are you gonna say?
I was just going to say that I am really really encouraged in seeing the spin-off, project specific discords.
Yeah.
That to me says that we're growing up as a community in our attention to providing ways for the community to chat with us, to straighten us out, to help us do better.
Yeah.
So I think it's very very encouraging to me that there are projects who are saying, hey, I need to have my own Discord server,
Yeah.
or whatever that channel is,
Yeah.
but some way to say this is name the project,
Mm.
cast.live
Mm.
Discord server.
Yeah.
If you want to see me, here I am. And
Yeah.
if you want to talk with me about what I'm doing, or if you want to lend a hand, or if you want to, whatever it is that you know
Yeah.
you want to help me shout from mountaintops, come.
Yeah, come join. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's sort of really, really quite valuable, and I feel like, yeah, it's a bit like, I suppose, maybe the the kid moving out, and you know kind of thing.
Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, if we could just quickly go over, like, just yeah, this should not take long. No more than 5 minutes. Some sort of some ideas here around the Santa Clara principles. Um, yeah. So one of the things that I've found to be quite useful, actually, I discovered this. I didn't know this thing existed before. Is, with big tech sort of, deplatforming a whole, all the stuff that's been going on of late. The EFF published their thoughts on it, and part of it they referenced this, which is a Santa Clara um, principles. And so I looked into it, and basically there are a bunch of principles. Was that your dog?
Yes, I have four
Okay.
rescued dachshunds, and they live on the couch that's right there.
Right
So,
there. Okay, they're
um,
just chilling. Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, Santa Clara principles. The idea here is basically the suggestions of principles that big tech companies could follow when it comes to being accountable in respect of content moderation. And I
Mhm.
suppose it kind of seeps into, community moderation as well, because these things apply to accounts being, say, disabled, and so on, or even banned outright. And sort of simply put, the first point is numbers. So disclosing numbers, regarding, how many posts have been, deleted or suspended or flagged, etc., etc. Basically, sort of stats around things to give people, some sort of idea, and sort of, to try and perhaps surface some sort of patterns which are emerging. And then the second point is notice, basically, first and foremost, and communicating what the guidelines are in any sort of community, what is permitted behavior, what is not, kind of thing, so that people actually understand, what the rules of the game are. And if any of those are then crossed, what the process is of actually sort of intervening and giving notice, etc. And then the third point is appeal. So, the potential for someone to, provide evidence, in or more contextual information regarding any sort of thing which is, sort of being brought to question. And the possibility of redemption. right? Is sort of
Hmm.
tucked into this as well. So yeah, if you could just kind of yeah, just give your thoughts. You know, I think with the numbers thing, like you know, the stat bot I think is a great sort of sort of thing which exists, which we could sort of leverage. Then yeah, just give your general thoughts about these if you could.
My general thought is that at this point we're, a very tiny community, uh, and I don't know that we're, anything even closely approximating the size and scale of who
Big tech.
this was pointed at.
Yeah.
Um, our uh, our general discourse within the Discord server is at this point polite while lively.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we are a long ways from being where we need to consider any kind of rigorous uh, reporting of this and reporting of that. I am not certain uh, that we even have the capacity to record those events in a numerological kind of way. If a comment has been deleted, is that tracked somewhere in a stat bot? I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, you know,
But okay, so but then do you think that there's value in it though? Because whether or not you
there
think we're
certainly
ever
could
going,
be. There certainly could be,
yeah,
but I don't know at what point.
yeah, okay,
You
so
know,
it's a matter
at
of
what
time.
at what kind of scale do you need to be before this is, um, and certainly any individual who has been wronged would would say that I don't care about scale. All I care about is redress.
Yeah,
Okay. What I'm saying is that the burden of this kind of structure, this Santa Clara principles, the cost, the time, the burden.
mm-hmm.
I don't know that there have been or will any time be any sort of scale of request for redress within our Discord server. But I don't, we just don't have those kinds of numbers. Um, and again, as I say, with a very, very rare exception, we don't really have problems. We tend to work them out.
Okay, that's interesting, and I think what sort of has quite perfumed that perspective is your position. Because I feel like as someone um, who has no role, for instance, right? I have no role in the context of the Discord, right? And I don't think just for conflict of interest reasons, you know, having cast and being in the position I am in, I don't think that will kind of be particularly helpful. However, so far I do have an opinion on just being an outsider, right? Conversations which take place, like, you know, before we went live, you're telling me about, you know, an event which happened just yesterday or last night, right? Being transparent with such things, it doesn't really matter whether we're at millions, you know, the scale of millions. I think starting now and actually, you know, because these things are path dependent, starting now, and you know, some of these could actually even be automated, and you know, these could exist in sort of in particular channels, right? For example, you know, having you know, like an appeal, like I visited a disco channel, the Abba and Preach
So
channel.
I'm sorry. I hate to do this, but
Yeah,
I must pause.
yeah, sure.
I have a dog who is basically incontinent,
Okay,
scratching at the door.
okay, okay,
So
okay. Yeah,
I'll be right
it's fine.
back.
Okay, cool, sure. Okay, yeah. So, yeah.
Sorry about
Actually, yeah.
that.
No, dude, life happens. That's fine.
So I've
So,
got 3 minutes, and he's going to be barking at the back door to come back in because
okay, yeah,
he
that's
goes
fine.
out, does
Actually,
his
we'll be
thing, and
done. We'll be done in 3 minutes. We'll be done. Not to worry. Yeah. So I feel like this is perhaps a conversation to sort of come back to, and I feel like perhaps the difference between you seeing, sort of redress a different way to, a common, common pleb, who would be on the receiving end of such decisions without transparency and accountability on a whole, in terms of not just their issue, but also, issues which have happened to other folks, because what we're trying to ideally do here is build an environment of trust, and I feel like actually giving some deep thought to these ideas and how they could be implemented, I think is actually quite a great starting point. Having said that, thank you very much, Stephen Aldrich, for your time. And all your input. I really like engaging, with in conversation with you, whether it's in private or, within, sort of the public Discord channels, etc. And I really sort of, yeah, value your perspective. And yeah, so thank you very much, excuse me, for your time. Have you got any just closing thoughts or anything that you want to sort of say?
uh, my closing thoughts are, um,
Wait, there could be anything.
let's let's fund 25 projects this time. Let's do 50 the next time. That's my dream, is to see these numbers just continue to go along that line where we're doing, um, where we're doing important work, and projects that otherwise would not be funded um, do get funded,
Yeah.
because they don't have to go talk to, they don't have to do an elevator pitch. There's a whole group of us that's, tighten this up, tighten that up, make this a little better. Hey, can you give us some information about how this is going? So I mean, there's just such a wealth of information and talent that is standing here, just saying, "Come on, the water's fine, the funds are here. Let's build something cool."
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
that's where I'm at. That's the last thing I want to say. Let's build
Okay.
something cool.
Awesome. Let's build something cool. Yeah, I agree with that sentiment 100%. Right. So thank you very much for those who have actually watched this live. There are currently 3 people. The most we've had on this stream is 5, which is the most I
Wow.
believe we've ever had on Cast.live so far. So it's still early days. Yeah, so yeah, if you want to find out more about Castle Live and the different programs which are on here, and yeah, if you want to sort of contribute, or if you've got a catalyst project, whether it's now, fund 3, or in the future, whatever fund is, is going to exist, and you're watching this video for in the future, hello future person. Yeah, just go
Time
to
travel.
he's a time traveler. Yeah, just go to cast.live. So see, yes, actually, it's above Steve's head. You can see CAAAST dot live, and all the
Wrong
information.
finger.
Yeah, yeah, right there, exactly. All the information is on there, and yeah, cool. Thank you very much for watching, and Steve, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, cheers.
Pleasure.